Hello everybody and welcome to Wesley's Plant World with me, Wesley Peterson, and today we are out in the area of my garden called Southside Sunny Garden, and the sun has decided to grace me today here from the south, and that's fantastic. Now today I am going to be working on a little tiny bit of a border here where I want to place out some bushes that are going to be fantastic for the birds and the insects and the rest of the biodiversity here in Southside Sunny Garden. So the first thing I want to do is excavate a hole out at the back, because I have a grouping of plants that I want to plant in there that get quite tall, and they are already tall. I've managed to get myself some cuttings with roots. So I'm going to bring them in and show you what they are, and then you'll understand why I want to have them here in my Southside Sunny Garden, because they're good for the birds. Right, let me make a hole first and see how far I get with this. I've already thrown a load of rocks in here and debris, so I need to clear that and see if I can, right at the back. And behind it here I have hazelnut bush, a Currant Valeriana. So this plant is actually going to grow up and merge in between this plant. Right, already I know I need to go and get my loppers because I have some big roots in the way of where I want to plant. Loppers in hand, here I go with getting these large roots out of this hole. They're not needed. Those plants will survive without and produce more. They're well established. But for me to be able to get in here, I need to excavate what I can. So I've managed to get a deep enough hole. So now I'm going to get the plant that I'm going to plant in there. So I've had the rooted segments of this plant in a bucket of water so that they can soak up as much water as possible before I plant them. And this is a bush called Prunus padus. And this is the bird cherry, and I want it here because it gets lovely white flowers, which it's already getting now here towards the end of April. So that means they get their leaves early in the season, and then they start producing flowers early in the season, which is very good for all of the birds and insects and biodiversity. So all of these rooted segments I've managed to take up from the ground, I'm going to just place right in my hole. And this plant is so quick and easy to establish. It doesn't hardly droop or anything. As long as when it's planted, it gets watered in, it will carry on like nothing. And I have a few smaller pieces here that I might take out to put in another border actually. So look, a couple here, a couple of little ones that I will take out, yeah, and put somewhere else, because I do have a lot just in these stems here, and they're very tall and beautiful to show, because I want to get that effect of the height and everything straight away as soon as I start this project. And that's what I'm getting here, I can see. So yes, that's good. So they are all in. Now all I need to do is push the soil back around their roots straight away, keeping them moist. And this job was quick and easily done. There we go. They are in. And look at that. And what I can do, so they don't fall forward or anything, is put them in amongst the branches of my hazelnut bush. That will keep them standing up. Seeing as they're very tall, this is a perfect way to keep them up there. Yes. And keep them mixed in with the hazelnut. And then they will look like they've always been here like this. So now I'm ready to water these plants in thoroughly, or the roots of the other ones as well. And then after I've watered these in, I'm going to get some cuttings of another plant that I want to put in front of them. So I've put this plant at the back of my border because if I didn't, it would get chewed up by the deer. It's not just called the bird cherry, I also call it the deer cherry, because the deer will actually go in and they will rip off all the bark during the winter months. This plant is very tasty to them. So it's deeply in the back of this border, and then I'm going to be putting 2 layers of bushes in front of it to keep it protected. And it has a Picea abies growing behind and hazelnut bushes and a border, so there's no way that the deer can get in from the side there. So this plant will be protected. So now they're watered in, I'm ready to go and get my next bush that I want to place in front. So I now have my next plant, my next layer, and it's more of the lilac bushes. Lots and lots of small ones I've collected from the perimeter of my garden again that are going to be perfect to place in as the second layer in here. So just to dig a couple of holes and get them in the ground. So that's my lilacs in, just a quick water, and then I'm going to put my third layer of bushes in here. So now I have my third layer of bushwork. This is rubra sanguineum, the flowering currant, and look at the lovely flowers on this plant right now. Aren't they just amazing? And the bees love this, as well as other insects. So we'll have the earlier flowering Prunus padus, we'll have the Syringa vulgaris down here that flower a little bit later on, and we also have the earlier flowering rubra sanguineum. So these three types of bushes in this corner are going to fill out very well, and the lilacs and the flowering currant the deer do not like. So those bird cherry are very safe behind there. I've taken these without any roots. So as I always do, that little bit can even be saved, do it later. Just score up the bottom, literally. I've done this so many times in so many parts of my garden now, and it works, no problem. You score up around 10 centimeters off the bark so that the stem can wick up moisture, and then stick it as far down into the soil as you can, and that will take off. And this little tiny bit, well, of course that's going to take off. So let's get these in there now. See how far I can push it down. Yeah, that went really deeply down. So I can leave that exactly how it is. And carry on with all the other pieces. Even this little tiny piece that broke off deserves to go somewhere like that. So now that is all of my bushes in here. Now I'm going to go out and collect a load of leaves and cover the whole ground with leaves and water it all in. So I'll just water it one more time first before I get the leaves, cover the whole ground with leaves, and then water it in again. That will give all these plants a fighting chance to keep the moisture in for a while. And then at the front, I'm going to put a little bit of soil because I do want to plant in some perennial plants that are also very good for the biodiversity, and they will get flowers later in the season. So there'll be another flush of flowers that come out in this border. So I'm collecting all of these leaves from my wild orchard garden here, lying in my pathway. So it's perfect to get these now and be able to use them for something practical like this. Second load of lovely dry leaves that make a fantastic mulch in the garden. Nothing better than what nature provides, right? Now time to water it all down so it stays in place and holds the moisture. So now that I have completely watered in the area, I am ready to go and get some soil just to place around the front part here so that I can get my final perennials that I want to put in here, and then the rest is just going to be able to grow out as bushwork. So I now have my soil and I just need to break it down a little bit. So now I've finished with this thin layer of soil, I will now go and collect my final perennials to place in this border. Here I come with my final perennials that I'm going to be planting here. This is the beautiful Valeriana rubra, or otherwise known by its synonym, Syn.Centranthus rubra. This is red valerian and it gets absolutely fantastic dark pink flowers on it in the later summer season, and if cut back it will actually flush out a second flowering for you. But this plant can grow and spread on its huge bulbous rhizomous roots. Look at these, aren't they amazing? So these plants are going to do fantastic in this border here, and the insects love them when they start flowering. Straight down in a deep hole with all the roots, soil back around. And the first one is in. Lovely. Next one. This is also a very non-fussy plant. Once established, it can take drought. And yeah, it will just keep growing bigger and bigger root balls and look gorgeous with time. It's been absolutely fantastic in my garden. It doesn't like to be moved when it's producing leaves, especially when it's much taller, then it would just completely wilt and near enough have to start again. But I think I'm just in time to do this right now. Now, if you want, you can go in and divide these into lots and lots and lots of separate plants. But I'm just leaving them as this root ball they're in. I'm just chopping down the old stems from last year. The flower stalks, I mean, they can get up to 60 centimetres, 80 centimetres tall or so. Absolutely beautiful, but the old flower stalks, they stay on the plant and of course brown out and become nutrients when they fall to the ground. So that's why I'm just clipping them and leaving them where they are, not taking them away. These will grow out to big bushy plants. Imagine these plants now when they're 60 centimetres tall with flowers and really bushed out here in under these bushes that are growing behind. It's very hard to see everything that's going on right now, I appreciate that, but we'll come back during the summer and see what this is looking like. Now I need to just give it all one final watering in. When you water in these Valeria rubra, they are very, very delicate at this stage of coming out. So I am watering around them and as much as possible not on top of them, because otherwise I will crush their new fresh green stems down. They won't be able to take the pressure of too much water on top, but they most definitely need the moisture to be able to carry on growing up and out now. So all the way around them, the watering is very important, but not on top unless you flicker like this slightly to get some of the dirt off, but otherwise don't pressure them with too much water. Now these red valerian, they were in my inner garden in a border that was very, very dry, and they were growing directly under my Thea occidentalis Brabant bushes, very shaded and right in between the roots of the Thea, and they still managed to survive, but not so strongly, and that's why I've decided to move them here, where they'll now get direct sunshine, dappled light, shade, and when I'm in here watering different things, I can come and give them a little water too, and they should be able to really turn into some beautiful perennial plants. And there I am, done with the watering. So that's me finished with my border here for today. This is border number 5 in my Southside Sunny Garden, and I'm really, really pleased about the different varieties of plants I managed to get planted out in this border. My Prunus padus that is already 3 meters tall, and will carry on growing out wonderfully there. And then my Syringa vulgaris. And this variety, I do think, where I took it from the same patch this time. I think it's a patch where I have the pink variety of lilac. So I'm hoping they're pink. And then I have the rubra sanguineum, the flowering currant that has its pink flowers on now. And then later in the season, I'll have the Valeriana rubra, which will have its dark pink flowers as well. So there's going to be a concession. Well, the Prunus padus has white flowers, but there'll be a concession of different flowers at different times, different colours. And this is absolutely fantastic. Also, again, whatever wild plants that come in that don't take over are going to be allowed to grow in this border. I'm not going to be trying to fix it to make it stay just those plants. It's going to be a mixture of all sorts of different things. I just wanted some plants that come up that have flowers and also that have robust roots so that they'll really be able to hold their own in this border here. So before I end the video, I'm just going to show you some photos of this border so that you can get to see closer up what everything's looking like now, so that we'll be able to come back and compare it in the future. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing the photos of this border and my job today. I'm very, very pleased with this. It was just a little corner that I was working on today compared to some of the much larger projects I've been doing lately. But this is still part of my main big project I'm doing here in my Southside Sunny Garden. But anyway, you're going to have to come back in the future and see the videos of the progression of this area of my garden and all the different things that are going on, because it's so exciting. And I can't wait to show you more during the summer season when everything's green and looking so much more filled in than it does now. So all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.